Coming in hot.
What's going on, everybody? Hopefully y'all can hear us out there. Chris, you need to get us started.
Yeah, we want to get started today because we don't want you guys to get bored with all of our small talk here. So, usually John drops a topic on us. None of us know what it is. Today, at our networking meeting, we had such a good topic that we wanted to podcast about it, I guess. Is that what you'd say?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I'm going to read just a quick paragraph that came from this training tidbit, and then we're going to jump in because this is good stuff. So, we're going to be talking about ownership today. Owning it. So, in the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, they share experiences they had leading a SEAL team in Iraq. One particular mission did not go as planned. An Iraqi soldier was killed and a member of the SEAL team was injured in friendly fire. So during the debrief, the question was asked, who's to blame? Right? Several members of the team spoke up accepting responsibility for their failure in the mission. Each one took ownership of his part. As the commander, Jocko took the ultimate responsibility for the failure of the mission. As the leader, he was in charge and he was responsible. Despite the blow to his ego and reputation, taking ownership of everything that went wrong was the right thing to do.
So, sum that up a little bit for us.
Well, you know, we talked about it in the group today, and I think the consensus was as whether you have one employee, you have no employees, or you have many employees, taking 100% ownership of your life, of your family, of your business, no matter what it is crucial. Because if you're not taking ownership of how your life goes, you know, we are in a culture where everybody wants to shift blame on somebody else, right?
Yeah.
It's somebody else's fault. The way I grew up, well, blah, 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 right?
But it's on you.
Yes, we live in the greatest country in the world. You have the ability to take ownership, go find people that you can fall behind and be successful and let them teach you. And unless you're just stubborn like I've been and you want to make lots of mistakes without listening to other people's wisdom, once you figure out how to take ownership, I think you can unlock success.
So where this resonated with me earlier that we were talking about, I had a business. I've had several that failed just miserably, and I was in such a depressed state. Like I would say suicidal. You don't say that, but it's suicidal, and you're in such a bad mind frame. I couldn't take ownership and be like, it was my fault. I failed because I didn't put in the work, and I didn't go there daily, and I didn't help those employees. And once I made amends with that, man, I went to another level. So failing was such a huge part of my life that I think you have to fail to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, once you fail, if you learn from that, then it's not a fail. It's a win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you realize what you did wrong and get past that, I'll also add ego on top of that. Because you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to look bad, so you don't even try. You don't even get out there and get going.
Well,
So I'd say
let's
ego's
jump on a
top
topic
of that.
real quick with you. Introduce
Yeah.
yourself first of all.
Scott Mars.
And Scott,
Yeah.
the reason we got Scott on the podcast today, man, he is doing something phenomenal that I love. Tell him what you're about to do.
I'm taking the next 12 months and I'm taking a trip around the world. My daughter's going to start it with me, and we're going to walk the El Camino to Santiago, 150 miles. It'll take us about 25 days.
Man.
And then she's going to come back to America, and I'm going to take the next 11 months and circle the globe.
And when are you doing this?
Start April 1st, I fly out.
April 1st. So guys, we're going to get back to that real quick because I got a question for you. But pick up your bag that you have down on the floor. Show everybody. Look at this thing.
Put your phone there.
So everything you got is in here right now?
This is what I'm going to live out of for a year.
Man.
All my electronics, clothes, everything right there.
So you think you're bad in a tiny house.
Yeah.
He's the guy that
Oh my
I'd like to
goodness.
say I am.
So Scott,
You know, I'm gonna give Scott a shameless plug, okay?
there you
Because
go.
I think that this is a great opportunity for any companies out there that have products that someone like in his situation could really benefit from field testing. You're gonna be vlogging, you're gonna be blogging, you're gonna be sharing your experiences on social media. So any of those products that someone who's traveling around the world that can be really helpful, they need to reach out to Scott, and we're gonna put his
at the end
information-
we'll drop kind of where you
Yeah.
can find both of you guys.
That's
'cause
real
y'all are-
world
y'all are-
testing, real
y'all are
world
new,
feedback.
So I'm excited about that. But Scott, back to our topic, man. What made you be like, I'm gonna do this? Because it's scary for anybody to do this jump. And you could fail.
Oh, yeah. You know,
thanks for that.
Sorry.
You might not make it back.
I can't wait to see you in 1 year.
You know,
Just 'cause that comment.
I think it was just a perfect opportunity, perfect timing, and I've wanted to travel, and I think that's just, now's the time to do it. If you wait, well, I'll do it next year. I'll wait, wait until time's right, or until you have enough money, until, there's always a reason to put it off. And I'm just, forget it, I'm doing it
Some
it
days
now.
not a real day.
Exactly.
So what you do before this, Scott? Like, let's dive into you real quick since it's on you.
I was in sales, did
Okay.
medical sales for 20 plus years. Got back to Texas and tried insurance sales. Didn't really stick, didn't like it. So I thought, well, what are you doing? I'm just gonna go.
Okay.
So,
He's selling himself short.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was about to say. He owned a
business.
company, and that's what I
Right.
wanted to get back to. I knew you were real humble about that. So you sold your company, but in the middle of all that, how many times did you fail?
oh gosh, constantly. I'm not afraid of failure.
Yeah. So, but you had to get to that point.
I guess I think I've always just, pick myself up and go. I mean, there's been times in my life where I've been depressed and down in the heaps, and when I'm there, I think to myself, wait a minute, this is a choice. I can either stay here or I can choose to get out of it. And then once I made that choice, I'm coming out of it and learning from my mistakes.
You made that choice. You own that. I think a lot of times it's so easy that it's like, that's that guy's fault. I didn't make it there because so and so didn't work hard enough for me. That's a bullshit line.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was asking you, what's a piece of advice or something you could tell somebody or you think of when they fail, or they need to take ownership.
I think it goes back to the ego thing. Don't be afraid to fail, and don't push it off on somebody else. It's nobody's fault. Even if it is, you're only in control of your own actions, your own thoughts, your own whatever, and nobody else can stop you or make you do anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Your take? You just moved here, right?
I did.
So introduce yourself. Where you from?
I'm Susan with Keller Williams Elite Home Group over in Temple. I moved here from Montana.
Wow.
Yay, nice and
Wow.
cool. I'm sure they're loving this. I'm getting the heat, so I love it here. I think he's correct. The day that you stop learning from your mistakes and you stop owning up to it is the day that you become almost arrogant. I mean, no one's above learning and moving forward. It's all about responsibility and taking credit for what you've done wrong.
When you and your
Making it
husband
better.
moved here, right?
Mhm.
Was that scary? That risk of failing?
Almost as scary as being on this podcast.
But I just couldn't imagine. You moved your whole family, right?
Yes,
That's just crazy. And I'm so glad you did. You're
I
amazing.
am too. I'm glad to be here. Loving it.
Man, Grant, let's hit on you. So you introduce yourself if you want.
You might
but-
want to save Grant for the last. I got a feeling Grant's gonna drop some thunder.
Yeah, he's ready for this. All right, David, we'll go with you. Bud.
Man.
You've had a few companies. You've
Don't
failed.
put that pressure on me.
If I'm not mistaken, I know of 3 or 4 that I know you failed out, and there's probably 10 or 15.
I'm trying to push you.
But, sorry.
It's failing all over the place.
Spelling is good.
Apparently, Grant's gonna be horrible. No, I mean,
pass.
you know,
At least you're owning it. Dave.
yeah. Well, I mean, it goes back to the discussion. You have to, and I like what you said about taking credit for your failures, because it's not always that you failed and it made you, less in some way. And we talked on the previous podcast about being vulnerable. So I believe, I'm not a fan of failure, but I'm not afraid of it. And I see it as an opportunity. It is a challenge for me. So to me, I don't fail. I meet challenges. And when you can take that approach and not so personally, then it's easy to take the accountability with it. And you know where to go from there to keep that from happening again. Because I know the feeling of failure. I've been there. I've had the depressive states and everything. Nobody likes to fail. It's not the greatest feeling in the world.
No.
But it also makes the feeling of success that much greater.
Yeah.
So if I set out to do something, if I expect to fail, that's I got a problem. You know,
Right. But you take ownership every time you fail.
absolutely, you
That's
have to.
that's but that's
You
the
absolutely
key.
have to.
So
So looking for blame is not the answer. It's not going to solve anything.
yeah, once you get to that, you just have to say it's me, it's my fault.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the story was.
Well,
about.
people have a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
Well,
What-
I think if you've been someone, and I'm going to own it, someone who has throughout their life kind of passed blame on why they haven't had the success they were capable of because of circumstances, as extreme as they may have been or hard as they may have been, it's never too late to start taking ownership and right the ship, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean you can't start.
I
now,
love it.
right?
You're never too old
No.
to fail
No.
and do it again and take the
I
ownership.
saw a quote the other day said Warren Buffett made his fortune after the age of 50.
Yeah.
So
Think
what,
about that.
what did
You
he?
become better with age, you know.
You do.
He's-
We're like fine
Fine
wine.
wine.
I don't know what that's like yet.
Here in Texas, we say fine wine.
Fine
I don't
wine.
know how they do it in Montana or Alaska, but it's fine wine.
I don't know either.
So I mean, well, David, when you got there, right, and you were failing,
Yeah,
or you because I think people don't want to own it when they're failing because you're like, man, this sucks right now. I didn't do this. So and so did it. At that point in your life, what's something you did to overcome that?
Well, I mean, that's important because it's up to you to overcome it. I mean, just like Scott said, it's a decision to feel like a failure and take that. But, you know, live in that moment, however long you need to live in that moment, and, you know, rise. Now, one thing that I personally do that I know that is shared by you guys at the table is if I am not where I want to be, and I'm not saying I'm anywhere where I want to be, you know, I still have goals and aspirations. The way that I get to the next level is to find somebody like-minded, be around that person, and figure out where they're going. So they may be feeling the same as me. I'm stuck in a rut. I got to break through the ceiling, and you know, where am I at? And if I can help them get what they want and help them get there, then I ultimately I'm going to achieve what I need to achieve. So, and that's why I love this group so much, is because I was saying earlier, you know, I know that I want to get to the next level in my business, and I'm here so I can, you know, contribute to that and see to that success. But when I have 40 some odd people in the room that is elevating me and serving others. See, because when I enter the room, I figure out how am I going to serve others. I'm not all about self. I'll tell you about me. But if everybody has that mindset that they're there to serve others, then I have 40, 50 advocates in the room, and I don't have to worry about doing it myself.
Sure. And it also goes along with who you put yourself around, what kind of people you're with. If you're with negative people, then they're going to bring you down. If you're with positive people, uplifting people, you know, always put yourself with people that are better than you, bigger than you, whatever, then that they're going to bring you up.
Yeah.
Same
It's
thing,
funny
right?
you say that, because while you're failing, or for me, while I was failing, I was around a bunch of bad people, and like they were just letting me fail. You know, when I'm with Chris, literally get a text message, or David, or any of these guys. No, what are you doing? Where's your goals at? What did you do today? And just that little thing,
Yeah.
you're like, I gotta do it. Like I can't. They're gonna ask me. I don't want to lie to them. But when you're around those bad people while you're failing, it just snowballs because they're not pumping you up. They're failing too.
They want to bring you down.
Or even the indirect secondhand smoke, if you will, of seeing the people that you're around going out and pushing their business, growing their business, being better husbands, being better
Yeah.
fathers, being whatever it is, and you get around that, you're gonna naturally just gravitate. It's that whole 5 people you hang around with. I mean, I talked to those VHS students the other day, and that is so true. I mean, they didn't want to hear it because it's what their parents say and their teachers say, but any of us, I guarantee you, any of us right now, if we look back on our life, that has held true, that whoever we were around, you know,
Well,
determined who we were.
that's why your
That's not the
partner,
topic,
your
though.
wife or spouse, what are supposed to be your better half.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because you know they're supposed to make you better.
About 90-10.
But
You
you know,
well, I don't know. It's different for everybody, right?
with a group like this,
She's
that
90.
we keep going back to the group because it's so important to our lives. But if our business is failing, man, I could walk up there and take ownership and be like, fuck, man, my stuff sucks right now. I could ask anybody of our group and be like, mine sucks right now. Can y'all help promote me? I promise you, 60%, maybe more, maybe 100%
Yeah,
would be
that's
like, okay, let's figure out how to help.
Done.
It happened last night, or today. Jancy, we're at Brody's Steakhouse, so shout out to Brody's. They give us the spot to do our podcast. But she was hurting. She couldn't make somewhere on Friday, so she reached out to a member that's in a business networking deal for us, and that member came over and worked her business.
Yep.
She didn't make any money. She didn't ask for anything, but she was around the right people.
But you know where that started? Jancy took ownership of the fact that she couldn't handle something in that moment and asked for help, right?
step.
And it takes, you got to own when you can't do it. Nobody wants to admit that they can't do it sometimes.
Yeah.
To a fault of killing their business or killing a relationship, right?
And again, it goes back to ego. They don't
That's
want.
right.
They don't want to. They don't want to admit that they can't do it, or they don't want to look bad in front of somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm ready for Grant.
Okay, so
No pressure, Grant. but-
Grant, if you want to tell a little of your
Drop
story, bro, because I know you, Chris, we know you. So we know your backstory of how many times you failed.
No, I tell you,
It's a lot.
The
biggest failure in the
reason
room.
I boosted Grant like that and challenged him a little bit is because after listening and getting to know Grant, at your age, Grant, you have taken more ownership. You're a perfect picture of someone who could have not taken ownership and could have been dead.
Yeah.
Maybe should have been dead based on your story several
Absolutely.
times. But eventually I'm not going to take your story, but your story of taking ownership and who you are today, the father that you are today,
Oh, he's a great
is
father.
so stinking inspiring.
Oh, dude, you're gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
That's okay. We give hugs.
We got to
man.
get you some ghostwriter. You need to write a book.
You know, I'm glad that you prefaced that because I've been sitting here rattling all this around, and I've been to 3 different chapters this week, so I've gotten to talk about this training tidbit like 3 different times already. You know, and so
no fair.
it's so good. You know, Jocko. For any of you guys that don't know who he is, go look him up on YouTube. The dude it's really intense. He's amazing. But that's what he's all about is extreme ownership, taking ownership of everything. And it's so from a practical standpoint, coming from, my background, I don't come from the wrong side of the tracks or anything, but I definitely took a detour, if you will, there for a while.
I mean, let's just be honest with it.
Yeah.
Like, you owned it already.
Absolutely. So I'm in long-term recovery from substance abuse. I battled drug addiction for a really long time. Ended up in prison a few times. And came out of that, and again through that, one of the biggest things that my family ever did for me, one of the best things they did was kind of be done with me and let me figure it out, take ownership of it, and when it came down to it, and again, I have a lot of friends within the recovery community who have the same perspective, and so it's really it's amazing, but as long as it's somebody else's fault, then that means it's somebody else's responsibility for my life to be the way I want it to be. And as long as it's not my responsibility, that's almost, it's all about perspective. If it's other people's fault and other people's responsibility, that means I'm always going to have to be dependent on somebody else for my life to change. And as long as I can, it's an amazing thing. It's uncomfortable and it's not something that you want to do because it's very easy to just pass that blame. But really, it's so enlightening when you realize, my life right now is a direct result of the decisions I have made up to this point. And when you realize that, then that's so enlightening because it's empowering, really, because you're like, oh, that means I can change it. You know what I mean? That means I can make different decisions because that's what all my life is accumulation of all the choices I have made up to this point. Even when I put myself in the path of somebody else who wrongs me or does something to me that's seemingly undeserved, I can backtrack back and go, okay, where did I make decisions based on self that landed me in that position, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's all about a perspective shift, man. I love like Tony Robbins, and for those of you guys who know Jake Ducey, they really dive into the science behind all this. It's not just positive thinking crap. It's truth. You know what I mean? It's the science behind this stuff. When you can view failure, because I think people attach like a permanence to failure. Like when they fail, they have kind of an attachment of permanence to that, and it's not. I think you just have to change the definition of what failure actually means. Failure sounds so permanent, but it's so temporary. And like you were talking about, man, when you can learn from your mistakes, but not just your mistakes, other people's mistakes, it's not a failure at all. A failure is when you don't learn from it.
Exactly.
When something happens and something goes wrong and something doesn't go your way and you refuse to move forward and you refuse to take ownership, now that's a true failure.
Or if you keep repeating the same thing.
Absolutely.
That's a failure. If you do it once and you learn.
Absolutely.
Good
I mean, what's that
story,
old
man.
the old cliche? You know, I hate cliches, man. I hate them so bad. But
They become cliches typically because they're true.
exactly. You know, they'd say Thomas Edison tried however many thousands of times to try and invent
Right.
a light bulb,
Right.
And he said, I didn't fail. I just figured out how many times
Not to do it.
You're right.
Hey, I heard a quote
Yeah.
the other day that deals with that. I want to say it before I forget it because I love it. It says that the stair steps to success are built on the broken pieces of failure.
Ah, so
So
good.
think about
Yeah.
the broken. Think about something wooden that's been broken, and you cobble together this stair step, and it's all that
Absolutely.
failure that gets you.
Well, I think people think that success is sexy, and it's not, man. Success
Oh,
is not
man.
sexy, dude.
It's dirty.
It is.
Yeah.
It is not like when you get really down into it. Like people are rewarded in public for what they've been practicing in private for years. So when you don't realize that though, man. All you see is people on the stage, and you see people on camera, on social media. People are like, "Oh man, I've been watching your social media, man. Looks like you're doing amazing." I'm like, man, that's just what you see on social media. Let me tell you. Okay, I promise you, there's a lot of other stuff going on there, man. You know, and there've been plenty of months where I've been late on bills and doing all kind of stuff like that. And that's just the real. That's just raw. That's real. You know what I mean? And success and making the decision to be self-employed and do your own thing and take your life into your hands it is not sexy, man. It is built on the foundation of multiple failures, and you just keep getting back up and dusting yourself off, and you keep on. The surest way to fail is to just not try anymore.
Exactly.
You know,
Bang.
that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Have you ever met a successful person that hasn't failed?
Right, exactly.
Anybody met a successful
Exactly.
business owner or person or dad or mom or aunt that has failed? That hasn't failed?
John. That's what I do for a living. No, yes, I do. I fail for a living. I talk to business owners who are at that stage in their career where they're going to get, to get paid for their masterpiece. And almost every one of them tell us the story of how they came this close.
So losing it.
Or they did lose it several
Yeah.
times before they got there.
But they
Now
didn't
it
give
took
up.
cojones to take risks to get to where they are
You could-
today. Nobody just walks into this stuff. I love what you said. Success isn't pretty, man.
I
No.
know.
You don't just wake up and you're like, you know what? I got 10,000 followers and I'm going to start a carpet cleaning company and it has 9 million clients. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Just work.
I love Gary Vee talking
Work,
about
work,
how
work.
in 2000 and whatever, when he started on Twitter, he was getting like one retweet and one view, and he would spend 4 to 6 hours a day just going and finding random strangers, commenting on their posts, so that they would again comment back
And
to him.
that
how he
same
built his-
thing works today.
Yeah.
I wake up every day. Are y'all seen it? I like. I bring it back to social media because it's so important to me. But it's every day, consistency, fail, consistency, fail, consistency. Like I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as I keep dropping
And
that
the
fail,
listeners
and
are like, dang,
I know. But
Yeah.
fail, man. It just fails. It's so crazy as you get kind of comfortable failing. You're like, you know what? That didn't work. That person, that meeting that I took with that person, they don't want my business. That's technically a failure because I didn't walk in and get my goal that I
Right.
achieved. But you're like, okay, next.
Man,
Like-
Les Brown tells the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. Have any of you guys ever seen that video? It's so good because he talks about the Chinese bamboo tree. It takes 5 years of watering and nurturing before it even busts out of the ground, right? And when it busts out of the ground, it grows 90 feet tall in 5 weeks, right? So the question is, did the tree grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? So obviously 5 years, because if at any point you stop watering and nurturing that tree, it'll die in the ground. He said, don't you know that people are going to do the same thing to you? They're going to walk up to you and say, man, you've been doing this for how long? And you have nothing to show for it, And they're just going to ask you, why are you still doing this? Like, it's been this long and you have nothing to show for it. And then all of a sudden when that tree busts out of the ground and grows 90 feet tall, those same people are going to be, hey, man, I knew you could do it the whole time, man. You got a job?
This is crazy because when I talked to these kids the other day at the high school, I was trying to explain to them how getting away from negative-minded people is crucial. And what I'm going to go with what you just said is the people that are saying that stuff to you so often are family, right? They're family members. And I would ask these kids, I asked each class, I said, why do you think your parents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, or whatever want you to take the safe route? Why do they want you to go get a job with benefits instead of go build your own company or to go chase your dream or what? Why do you think? And it's because one kid just with so much wisdom said, because they love us and they don't want to see us fail.
Yeah.
And I say, you're right, but why do they not want you to fail? Because they've failed and they know how painful it was, and this topic kind of puts the bow on it. It comes down to ownership.
Self-aware.
Right? And so we talk about, being I used to talk to my students about you can be the cycle breaker, right? Stuff is generational. Right? You can learn stuff from parents or from generations before and carry it on, or you can take ownership and be a cycle breaker. Right? You don't have to continue on abuse. You don't have to continue on substance abuse. You don't have to continue on poverty mindset. If you choose today to take ownership for your life, you can change what the following generations get a chance to see.
Absolutely.
And that's something that is beyond just
Generational change.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, bad things happen to you.
Yes.
It stems from
And you
everything.
can't
So
ta-
when
you
we're
can't
talking
own
about
that.
that, that shit happens. Like things happen to me, things happen to you. But now you can't blame your business
Right.
because you're 30 and you started something and you're not mentally stable and you lost it. That's your fault now. It wasn't from your past. It's your fault. Owning it. Own it.
Y'all remind me of something my dad used to tell me. It was everything you do not only affects you, but everybody around you. So try to keep that in mind.
Ripples.
Your ripples
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I don't. Anybody else got anything on this topic?
I don't know, it's something in the cheese bites, man. That's what did it, man.
You need more?
Fired up.
I don't.
I'm
Own
excited
it.
to follow your journey, man.
Own it, yeah, dude.
Good
I
night,
can't. I
that's
can't
it.
wait. So here's what we'll do. We'll keep it short today. We'll keep it 30 minutes. So we got about 4 minutes before the big camera shuts off. So where can they find you at? And when? Give us your plug.
So Facebook, and I've got a blog, scottmars.world. So SCOTTMARRS.world, not .com, .world. And you can get connected on Instagram and Facebook and everything from there as well. So
Okay.
Awesome,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm still working on that whole.
I'm pushing. I'm pushing you hard.
John's
met John?
helping me. He's really working on
You
it.
can find her,
Gotta
and
trick
John
the old dog new
pushes
tricks.
it out,
I'm with Keller Williams, obviously, in Temple, so definitely go on Home Search. Look me up, Susan Allen.
Okay.
Reach me at 406-799-1311. I'd love to help sell you a house.
The phone still works.
Yeah, it still
that's
works.
good.
Phone's still
I
ringing.
got that one.
Grant, what you got?
Oh, fitwithgrant.com, fitwithgrant Facebook page, fit.with.grant on Instagram. Yeah, I'm all over the place. So.
Yeah.
Dude.
It is. Hey, listen, you can reach me. I'm going to drop that same email address, info at texasbusinessconnection.com. I have a mastermind that's going on if you want to get involved in. I'd love to. It's nothing but successful people making sure that you are successful. So if anybody's interested in that, they let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chris?
RMA.com. I'm a mergers and acquisitions, and so we help companies understand what their value is. We do it with no upfront costs, and we are successful 9 out of 10 times. Kind of a big deal.
Well, I'm not going to give my plug. What I do want to take away real quick.
Social Val Media.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
talk about the real
Yeah,
deal.
man.
Okay.
He's a big deal.
Go, man.
yeah.
Quick tip that y'all have to take away that you could give somebody. I'm going with you last because I feel like yours is the most important to me right now.
Thank you for your time.
One quick tip that you could give somebody that we talked about.
I mean, just never give up. Don't stop. Try one more time. No matter how many times you fall, you got to rise one more time. Just keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
Love it. Doug?
Get around people you want to emulate. So that's what the mastermind is about for me. Get close to people and relate with people, be vulnerable, and be of service.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do mine. I actually have this tattooed. Live fast, fail fast, get back up fast, retry fast, keep going.
That explains a lot.
Woo!
Motorcycle
Yes,
racers speaking right there.
Yeah.
I already pretty much said mine. I think mine was hidden in that whole, look at your past. The day you start taking ownership is the day your life will change. And the longer you've waited to do it, the bigger pill it is to swallow, because you've got to own a lot at that point. You can look back at your life and say, okay, all this stuff that I was dissatisfied with, that I blamed others, like Grant said, for so long, because it was easier to blame others or situations or whatever for the fact that I wasn't living up to my fullest potential, was really only my fault. And when you can own that and change it, then powerful things can happen.
Definitely, I totally agree with you. If you live up to it, not scared to fail once or twice or many, many times, you definitely are gonna grow, and you'll see those around you be uplifting and help you to grow as well.
All right, Scott. I did it on you, and here's why. You got a trip. Everybody has a chance to fail, but yours is such a big risk. I love it, and I'm inspired by it. I can't wait to watch it.
I think we need to crawl in his bag.
I know. I'm in. Like, I love everything you're doing
You
about
should've done
life
an
right
unboxing.
now.
Yeah.
What's in that bag?
So I wanted to end with you, so they make sure that you follow your journey.
You know, we said it all 10, 20 times in the last 30 minutes. I just repeat what we said. Don't be afraid to fail. And don't be judgmental on people. Have an open mind. The world's not this big. The world is that big. And go out and experience it and do what makes you happy. Don't do what you think everybody else wants you to do or what you think will make you. I mean, just be yourself authentically, and don't. Things will take care of themselves. You just do the right thing. Be honest. Be hardworking. Get up and work hard every day, and it'll all work out.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank y'all for being a guest. Look forward to hearing all y'all's journeys. Ask any questions. If y'all have a topic, DM me and at least say, hey, let's talk about this one day. I'd love feedback from you guys. You can check us out. We are approved for iHeart, so it's there, and we'll keep posting.
I'll say this, if you made it this far, that means you probably were getting something out of it. So if you got something out of it, the greatest thing
Share.
you can do for us is to share.
Share,
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 comment.
share. Please
Yep.
share.
Texas
Thank
Business
you, guys.
Connection.